The Silent Clause. Episode 7. The Enforcement Layer. Charisse didn't sleep at all after the message. There was a point where exhaustion stopped registering as tiredness and started feeling like suspension, like her mind had stepped outside normal limits and refused to come back down. Marcus arrived before sunrise. He saw her at the table immediately. Still, focused, surrounded by screens, printed contracts, and timelines that now looked less like evidence and more like a reconstructed language. "You found enforcement logs?" he asked. Charisse nodded without looking up. "They weren't hidden well," she said quietly. Marcus gave a short, uneasy laugh. "That's because they don't hide it from everyone." That made her pause. She finally turned. "What does that mean?" Marcus hesitated before answering. "It means most people never get far enough to recognize what they are." He placed a new file on the table. No flash drive this time. A sealed printout packet. Starline internal classification stamped across the top. Enforcement Layer Protocols. Level 3 clearance. Charisse stared at it. "I shouldn't even be able to see this." Marcus nodded. "You're not supposed to." She opened it slowly. Inside were procedural charts. But they didn't look like legal documents anymore. They looked like system architecture. Decision trees. Behavioral triggers. Outcome mapping. Charisse's voice dropped. "This isn't law." Marcus finished the sentence. "It's execution logic." Silence spread between them. Charisse flipped a page. There were categories listed. Non-compliance response tiers. Tier 1, notification. Tier 2, access limitation. Tier 3, identity recalibration. Tier 4, contract state override. Charisse frowned. Identity recalibration? Marcus looked uncomfortable. That's the polite term. For what? He didn't answer immediately. For rewriting how your agreement is interpreted retroactively. Charisse leaned back slowly. So they don't punish you, they reinterpret you. Marcus nodded. Yes. Charisse stared at the page longer. Then whispered. So the lawsuit. Marcus understood immediately. It's not about winning. A pause. It's about activating enforcement. That word landed harder than anything before it. Enforcement. Not court. Not law. System action. Charisse stood up abruptly. They're using the lawsuit as permission. Marcus corrected softly. As validation. Silence. Charisse paced the room now, faster than before. Everything I've been building, my archive, my evidence. She stopped. It doesn't matter unless they allow it to matter. Marcus shook his head. It matters if it reaches outside their system. Charisse looked at him sharply. How? Marcus didn't answer immediately. Then he placed another smaller file on the table. This came from someone who used to work enforcement audits. Charisse opened it. Inside was a single line that made her stomach drop. Reality State Synchronization Log. Below it were entries showing how contract versions were not just stored, but synchronized across internal systems before external review ever happened. Charisse whispered. They don't just change contracts. Marcus nodded. They align perception before the truth reaches court. A long silence followed. Charisse sat down slowly. For the first time, the scale of what she was facing stopped feeling like corruption. It felt like infrastructure. Across the city, Victoria Kane stood in front of a wall of glass. Rain streaked down the outside. Her legal advisor entered quietly. She accessed enforcement protocols, he said. Victoria didn't turn. And she's close to understanding the synchronization layer. A pause. It isolates her. She looked down at the city lights. And isolated people make predictable decisions. Back in her apartment, Charisse stared at the enforcement logs again. But something had changed in her expression. Fear had stopped expanding. It had condensed. Into clarity. Marcus noticed. You're different, he said quietly. Charisse didn't look away from the screen. I'm done reacting, she said. A pause. I'm going to map every layer they use to rewrite reality. Marcus stepped closer. And then, Charisse finally turned to him. Then I take away their ability to do it silently. Silence. Not hopeful. Not dramatic. Real. Marcus nodded slowly. That's not a legal fight anymore. Charisse replied. It never was. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. One message. You understand enforcement now. Good. Last layer remains. Charisse didn't flinch this time. She just read it again. Then quietly said. What now? Marcus looked at her. Now they show you how they decide what becomes real. Watch for the last episode of The Silent Clause.